Hey, they toned that down. Usually it was so sharp in the ear. Okay. Hello, I am Mr. Rosa Marcella. Brain glitched. I am here to teach about SMART goals. I am autistic, trans, and many other things along with that, as long as also a part of the Order of Defense. And I had this rehearsed in my head like an hour ago, and now it's just like so. If you want to find me on Facebook, I am Roxanne Skeltsma with the parentheses of Rosa Marcella and also my SCA email. Quick introduction for me. I'm actually a second generation Scadian. I've been here playing since I was about 5. In real life, I'm a social worker as a certified peer support, case management, and hopefully I'll get into the Masters of Social Work program. My peerage is the Order of Defense, but I am now currently student, protege, and squire to a couple other peers because I am having fun making things. My pronouns are they, them, theirs, but I do like being called girly things too. What is a SMART goal? SMART goal stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Defining these parameters as they pertain to your goal helps ensure that your objectives are attainable within a certain time frame. Sounds really easy. And it's amazing when I was making this and teach this to a lot of other people in my work that you'd be surprised how often you actually do it in life. You've just never looked at the acronyms. So I took this off of Indeed, obviously. Specific goals. Make your goals specific and narrow for more effective planning. Measurable. Make sure your goal and process are measurable. And I do have separate slides for each one, so I can give examples. Achievable. Make sure you can reasonably accomplish your goal within a certain time frame. Relevant. Your goal should align with your values and long-term objectives. And time-based. Set a realistic but ambitious end date to clarify task prioritization and increase motivation. As someone with ADHD, having an end date helps you work on your goals because without an end date, it just never gets done. Specific goals. What will be accomplished? Some things that I use as examples. I wanted to get stronger because I've been trying to get into the SCA heavy fighting. I want to eat less sugar and I want to be able to save money. Here's how you figure out a specific goal. It's all the W questions: who, what, when, where, which, why. For example, figure out who needs to be involved. What exactly are you trying to accomplish? When, set a deadline or figure out the deadline. As you can see, this one is going to be said a lot. You need an end date. You need to figure out when you want to accomplish the goal. Which, figure out obstacles or requirements. This can help to figure out if the goal is realistic. Why? What is the reason for this goal? Measurable. Just like some classes I've taken about plateauing or other things. How do you make it measurable? Time, weights, inches. Like, I'm going to work on 3 inches of this tablet weaving a day to try to get done with that whatever imaginary date that we created. Usually simple measurable items are 90 days for 1 quarter, because usually in the SCA, that's when we have to do our reporting is with quarters. So try to keep it within 90 days helps. You can do a measurement by end of the month or end of the day. Like, you can have any sorts of measurement just as long as it is measurable. Like, I want to get stronger, so I have a notebook that I write down how much more weights I've been adding to the machines. Because I always forget muscles weigh more than fat, and that scale is mean. But other than that, this helps like with NaNoWriMo, if anyone's been doing writing or stuff, they kind of set you up for this whole month. You do 4,000, 5,000 words a day, and by the end of the month, you can have a book written, supposedly. I got 2 days in and couldn't do it, but it is a type of SMART goal because it breaks it up for you on how many words you need to write, and then you get 1 month to do it. Achievable. The goal needs to be realistic and attainable. How can I accomplish this goal? How realistic is the goal based on other constraints such as financial factors? Do you have the experiences and resources to accomplish this goal? I have an example of a bad goal that I did last year, and I have some examples of good goals. The achievable part is hard when you're learning a new skill. If it's not something you've done before, it may not be achievable. If you don't have the right personnel to do it, it may not be achievable. Getting somebody, like we're focusing on DEI, that has had to do either because, like me, for survival, I need to understand my entire identity to help people get educated and stuff, so I could help with more inclusive things, but including other marginalized people will help make more inclusive material. But if you don't have all those people or the know-how, your SMART goal might not be achievable. Just like I've never done tablet weaving and I want to have a full 3 yards done by the summer. I don't know if that's achievable. Am I going to go learn from someone? Am I going to learn on my own? Just kind of examples of how is that achievable to do it if you don't have the experience to do it. Relevant. Does this seem worthwhile? Is this the right time? Does this match our other efforts needs? Am I the right person to reach this goal? Is it applicable in the current socioeconomic environment? It's hard to make it relevant. I know, like I have some examples later. I can't think of any right now. Obviously, we are trying to make the SCA more inclusive, so that is very relevant to work on SCA, DEI, just lost all the words. SCA, DEI programs and procedures and other things, rules, guidelines, whatever. Like, this is a great time because we're all kind of pushing towards the same goals. So we have a lot of reasons to try to help grow our hobby, make it more inclusive and accepting. Time-based. Like I said, I love a due date because with my ADHD, I won't start a project without knowing when it's going to be done. So like usually easy time-based goals are quarterly. So you do quarterly reports. So I have quarterly updates, or say, okay, within 2 quarters, I want the new guidelines for DEI and what our group's going to do. So you got half a year to do something. Pretty achievable time-based. It's what you think you need to do to get it done. I was trying to get customaries done in a barony when I was initial, and I did not create a time base. So we never really got it finished because I didn't understand SMART goals at the time, and it just kind of kept getting pushed on the back burner because we didn't set up when we wanted it done. We didn't set up who was going to do it, who had the ability to change it with understanding all kingdom laws and society laws to make a baronial customary.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
Um, what about things like maybe you don't necessarily know how long it's actually going to get you to get it done, but what about having time-based check-ins? Is that part of what you're talking about?
Yeah, because you want to see if there's progress. So you could have like monthly check-ins. Say this is a longer thing that's just going to take a while. Okay, what type of progress do you want by the end of the month? You can do that for larger goals and stuff to kind of break it up down into smaller bits and pieces. Because writing rules and procedures takes a while if you're starting from scratch. Writing the youth onto youth rules, even though they were technically already written by Seamus out in Seagert, I still had spent 6 to 8 months editing to make sure the language is correct and that nothing else was outdated and things. So yeah, when you don't know when it's going to end, having monthly check-ins is not a bad idea, or daily or whatever. Just it's all hard to kind of like set exact times when you don't know when it's going to get finished, unless it's something you've done before, like creating jewelry. You know, it takes you a day to do it. So you give yourself a week with a couple hours a day to make something. That you can achieve with time-based more accurately than something you probably don't have a lot of experience doing, so you don't know how long it's going to take exactly. But yes, having check-ins is definitely helpful. So I'm going to go over some examples to kind of give an idea, and then we can kind of discuss questions or any other examples that you've thought about with SMART goals. Here is a bad example that I just did last year. I wanted to make my mom a jewelry set for Christmas. I wanted to cut metal out of and make matching earrings and necklace for my mom, which she is currently in Argentina on a penguin tour. So that's how much I know she likes penguins. I wanted to cut out 3 penguins. So I have the specific of what I wanted to do. I had the measurable. I wanted 3 done by mailing time for Christmas. Was it achievable? No, because I thought I knew what I was doing and I did not. So I messed up way more than I thought I was going to. And I finally decided I needed help and get somebody that knew how to do it. And so I had to reach out. So that was a SMART goal that I tried, but it failed because it was not achievable. I thought it was because I've been working with metal, but I went a little bit over my skills, which happens. Another example for me, by the end of the year, I wanted to work out at least 2 times a week. I created a measurements. Working out equals 1 hour of intense activity, which can be different for people, but this is based off of mine. Either going to the gym or going to rapier practice. I said martial arts because I created this for work. So rapier practice, heavy practice, something that can keep my heart rate going about 130 beats per minute. Things I had to do to achieve the goal. I got a gym membership and I make sure I go to practice when it's happening. And even other things I can do is dance practice or other things, just something to work out for an hour. Reasoning and I forgot what R was. Anyways, R. My doctor, it was relevant because my doctor wants me to get better. He wants me to mix up how I work out to stop some injuries. And overall, I just want to be healthier. The time was I started in October, so by the end of the year, I was hoping to get into the habit of going at least 2 times a week, and I am up to that. So that was SMART goals. Here's some of the references that I used to kind of get the wording better. So if anyone has any questions, I am now open for questions.
Do we have any questions? And
If not, trying to get this into a half-hour to hour course was difficult because it's like,
there can be a lot of things.
yeah,
Perhaps someone has some ideas of some of the challenges we face as branches to create some goals towards the DEIB.
it's a volunteer-based organization. So sometimes if you're not really getting paid to do it, it gets put on the back burner, so your goal might take a little longer than planned.
So
That's
allowing
just the number one thing, especially trying to fix the customary, which if you're not in Ontario, we have customaries in our baronies to kind of help keep with our traditions and understand what our wards are. But yeah, if you don't, when people are doing this voluntarily and run out of energy or spell slots, it gets difficult.
Yeah. Did we have someone who wanted to say something? Does anyone
Okay.
have a tale to tell, shall we say, where perhaps a goal was attempted and maybe some things went sideways? Okay, so in our
There's
chat, we have also dealing with people in your local group who are resistant can make it difficult. Yes.
Yes.
So identifying who those people are and finding ways to, I wouldn't want to say circumvent them. I would say more, maybe they have some experience that could either be relevant or that could be addressed to help them either step down from their resistance or perhaps bring them on board. That or have someone go talk to them, ask questions. I find getting curious with people like that helps to navigate because they usually have some sort of concerns that perhaps they need a voice to. Yes, Margaret? Margaret?
So how do you realign a goal when you have unaccountable things happen? Like somebody gets sick and they're part of your plan, but it's now on hold because you either need to find somebody else or they simply can't get their portion done.
That's where the check-ins really kind of help, because say you have something that's 6 months out you want to get done. Having those monthly check-ins can probably help you avoid a quick emergency like that, but not always. It's it's hard because life is life, and with people advocating that your self-care is important, sometimes you just gotta realign your goals and not really start over because you've already built up what you were doing. You just kind of have to, okay, well, at this point, we have to kind of push it out another month or whatever. You kind of have to sit down and have that check-in and be like, what still needs to get done? Like, and no one's usually to blame, obviously. It's just
Right.
you just kind of got to check in and realize when you need to reset the time limit. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it's the situation is that I'm relatively new to the SCA, so I'm still also getting used to a lot of things. Because I only joined not quite 2 years ago. But I am baronial signet, so I'm responsible for those scrolls getting assigned, but then also getting done in time. And I can't control when, say, if someone gets sick and they can't complete something on time, and how you adjust and how do you readjust those things, I guess. And that really doesn't, I don't know if it applies within the SMART goal. It's just like it works up to the point where it doesn't work.
So with Scribble, okay, so let me go back to so you have a specific thing that you're doing. You're
Right.
doing Scribble, obviously.
Right.
A measurable, you need to get, say, 6 awards done by next baronial event. Is it achievable? You've got the team already built, and then something happens.
Right. So typically it's not all of the scrolls. So you've assigned out a scroll, and the wordsmith forgot about the assignment. Yep. And now it's gone to now the calligrapher is like, I needed the words yesterday in order to make the deadline, kind of thing. And I think it's at that point you have to hit pause and say, okay, let's reassess what's achievable. And is it achievable at all? If we modify our goal, can we achieve it to a certain level that it's satisfactory for the needs? Or do I need to be calling the herald and saying, okay, scroll will not be at court, scroll will be pending?
We have had in my barony alone and some others, especially if you're not a large barony or you don't host a lot of events, give out IOUs, like quick little nice scribble. Hey, we wanted to get your award on the book, but because of, and you don't even have to really explain why.
Right.
It's just art is art. It takes time. But yeah, we do IOUs here in Blathanor.
Yeah, they in this situation, which actually happened, I actually contacted both the Baron and the Herald, and they said, no big deal. We'll do the presentation and just let them know that the scroll is pending, and you will be responsible for getting it delivered within quote unquote a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah,
which was doable.
Yeah. And that's sometimes what just has to happen if you can extend the deadline, because I'm aware that some goals unfortunately just can't get extended, but within our hobby we've got a lot of leeway on things usually. You had I see your hands up.
Yeah. So as something also Scribble related, I have watched the scribes in our barony We we've got what we sometimes call battle scribes,
Yeah, battle scribes.
right? There are a number of things in the SCA that this sort of thing can apply to. We have a deadline that we would like it done by because court presentation or something. With something like this, sometimes having a backup person or a backup plan that people are aware of, that we can put someone else in or put in other words. Yes, we can do the here's an IOU scroll or gift, or something like that. But we also have a backup plan or two for these kinds of things because we know we're volunteers. We know life happens. We know people are a bit shy or even embarrassed to say, life happened and I kind of fell down on this. And it's hard for those people to step forward and admit that.
Yeah.
One, showing grace to them that, hey, life happens, and not berate them. That helps a lot.
Right.
So people will report maybe earlier when they're realizing things are getting out of hand so that we can make these shifts. But also, yeah, having grace and putting in backup plans or maybe just open communication makes things still achievable within reason.
But I definitely like that example because that's something we deal with in every barony and kingdom. Another goal is like when everyone wants to make new garb for coronations.
Mm.
And sometimes those get out of hand and you just got to realize, oh, I guess it's the next crown event. But having people that are understanding, having people that are open, like what was said was open communication helps. When I was youth rapier marshal before the pandemic and daring a little bit, I stopped communicating and things got out of hand. And I realized what mistakes I made, that I needed to talk more. I talked to the on-tier marshal recently about it. Like, I learned what went wrong with my goals and setting up, getting people authorized and background checks and everything, that when I didn't communicate, things just went worse. So open communication is definitely better.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the most important part. Like, those check-ins are great because, okay, it's a week out until the event. Where are we at?
Right.
Well, I just got sick because I got hit with COVID or whatever things out there right now. I'm unable to complete my job. Is there somebody else able to do it for me? I'll leave it on the porch, sanitized or whatever. We've done this before too. But that communication part, which I don't know how you add that to SMART C. I don't know.
SCMART.
That could be part of your specific planning, actually. If you put it in more effective planning, is having that communication.
Yeah.
Anyone else with any examples or questions? Well, thank you. I knew this was going to be a rather quick class, just because of it's very specific on what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So enjoy
thank you.
Yep, enjoy the other classes.
Right. Can you release your screen, please?
I'm trying.
Huh?
Want to stop share? Oh, I have to hit stop share.
you know what? These things are not always as intuitive as they try to make them sound like they are. Trying to find all the buttons when there's so many options. It could be hard.
What? I went to click on the share thing and I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, it's still recording.
I'm sorry.